Thank you so much for joining us. Ever feel like you're doing everything right, but the scale just won't budge? You're not alone, and it's not your fault. Sometimes the missing piece isn't just about eating less or moving more. It's about understanding what's really happening inside your body, especially in those tiny powerhouses called mitochondria. And it's not to mention there are many misconceptions about calories. It's so easy to become overwhelmed by conflicting advice. And that's why we're so glad to be joined today on IG Live with Tara Allen. Tara Allen is an RN and certified health coach, nutrition coach, and personal trainer. During this live, we are going to discuss signs that your metabolism is downshifting, why your mitochondria are essential for weight maintenance, and how to burn fat without burning lean tissue, and so much more. And so, here you are. Hello.
Hi.
This is so smooth. Thank you so much for checking in earlier about phones or computer because it totally happened in the past.
Oh, no problem. All of a sudden I realized I've never been on the hosting end of this. So I was like, I'm not really sure. So yeah, I'm glad we figured this out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And then for those who don't know you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and then like how you became an RN and also overall health coach.
Yeah, so I've always been interested in the human body, like, form and function and science. I became a personal trainer 25 years ago to get me through college. And initially, I was going to college to become a physical therapist. But right in my first year of college, my mom had a brain tumor. She's good now. She's still good, but she had to have brain surgery. And I will never forget walking in after surgery. She was in the PACU after having her surgery. And she had this nurse. Her name was Cindy. I know exactly what she was. Brought her for you. She was the sweetest, most nurturing woman taking care of my mother. And initially, I said, this is what I want to do for people. It just felt different. It felt like that, just a different layer of intimacy and helping. And I switched my major and then I went for nursing. And I don't regret any of it. I loved it. I love all of my education and experience, but I felt like there was something missing. Bedside nursing was becoming more and more. We went from paper charting to computer charting. We were always behind the computer.
Mm-hmm.
We were pulled away from the bedside more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't able to include more holistic things that I knew would help people more, right? We were supposed to push pain pills on them when sometimes they might need pain pills, but sometimes they just needed to talk to someone through their anxiety and then their pain would have come down. So anyway, I kind of went on this quest to try to piecemeal my education together because there wasn't one certification or degree that was going to have all of the scopes of practice that I really wanted. So I went and became a certified health coach and then a certified nutrition coach. And I did a few other things and certifications in there, and kind of tried to pull all together so I can have this comprehensive approach.
I love it. I love it. And then I know metabolic health is sort of very central to this. So why is metabolic health so important to you?
Oh, yeah. So I myself, besides being on the provider end of things, I was also a patient. So I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, hypothyroidism, insulin resistance, prediabetes, infertility, asthma. I mean, the list could go on. And meanwhile, I was quote unquote a healthy person. I was an athlete my whole life. I ate healthy, right? But it was all the outdated information. I was healthy by the outdated standards.
Mhm.
And so that wasn't showing up as health inside my body or on my labs or anything. So I decided to get really nerdy, to experiment on myself. And in turn, I was able to reverse all of those conditions. I no longer have those. um, and I was like, this is what I need to be doing. I was already helping women with, weight loss goals, fat loss goals. But I was like, wait, I need to bring this into my business as well and be able to help them, because at the root of almost everything that ails us is really some kind of issue with our metabolism.
Wow. Wow, that's so incredible. I'm sure like your clients are benefiting so much, especially with this personal touch. Because I think even like if you don't have this personal touch, sometimes it feels not as personal. if it's just from the books, but this is like so incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I know where they're at, right? Like I can remember how frustrating it was. So yeah, I do think that helps me to relate to them a lot. Yeah.
So we hear like the word metabolism a lot, but then might not like fully grasp what it actually means. Could you explain like our metabolism and then its role beyond like burning fat?
Yeah, so I think our metabolism is almost being like our operating system, and it really impacts it's all of the chemical reactions that are keeping us alive. So it's the way that we convert our food into energy. It's the way that we're making hormones, the way that we're able to detoxify ourselves or balance our blood sugar. So it really impacts kind of everything. And I know a lot of people just think of metabolism and their weight as just being the only two things, and they're closely tied together, but only because of all of those other pieces as well. So metabolism, will impact even disease risk. It'll impact that as well. And as far as fat loss goes, it's so closely related because our metabolism will be using fuel, and that's going to be powering up all the different we have hundreds of different types of cells in our body, and our metabolism, based on different things, different inputs, are determining if we're using, more carbs or glycogen for fuel, or more fat to be used up as fuel. Are we going to keep the body fat but burn through more of the muscle? Or are we going to keep more of the muscle and burn through the body fat? So it's just all this input that we give it. And I like to think about it also like a factory. And if your metabolism is running like it's supposed to be, you have a factory and all the employees are there. That's all your different types of cells. And they're getting everything they need. The lights are turned on for them to work. They're bringing lunch every day, so they're getting fuel, and they're all happy and they're all productive. But when our metabolism is broken in some way, if you will, then some of those employees might be furloughed, and so your factory is not producing as much as you need it to be producing.
I love it. I love the analogy. So what are some signs that that your metabolism might be like downshifting?
Yeah. So first of all, if you have weight loss resistance, so you're trying to lose weight, you're not losing weight, or you're gaining weight, and you haven't been eating more. Um, if you are cold all the time, if your hair is thinning or your nails are getting brittle, low sex drive, fatigue, sometimes moodiness too, those can all be signs. Hormonal chaos or missed periods, those can all be signs of a metabolism that's downregulating.
Now that you explained the metabolism, like let's talk a little bit about calorie because that's always like people always think to hand in hand. Like we just like correlate how much calorie we consume and with how much weight we would, gain from food. So what are calories?
So calories are just a basic unit of measurement of energy, how much energy that food is providing. So this is actually how I talk to my kids, because people will be like, "How do you talk to your kids about calories? You don't want that food noise to get in their head." So I always call it energy points for them. As soon as they could read calories, what's a calorie? It's an energy point. But the diet industry has, made a lot of us feel nervous about calories, thinking that we should not be having that many. But I like to flip it on its head and think about it this way. If our body is not able to use up a robust amount of calories or food per day, then which one of your employees are furloughed right now? Because that's telling me something's going on that end, right? So a robustly healthy adult person will go through a lot of fuel in a day. And so they're able to eat a great amount of food and either maintain their weight or, eat a tiny bit less than that and able to lose weight or lose body fat at that point too. So I believe in the law of thermodynamics, obviously, right? But at the same time, there's so much more to the story, because that's just like a math equation here, calories in, calories out. But it's all of the science around it that actually impacts the calories in, calories out. So, I don't think that we should be, the calories is not the main focus. And in fact, I don't count calories, and I don't have my clients count calories either.
Is that the reason you also think that someone should not just have to rely on only eating 1,200 calories per day to lose weight?
Yes, yes. If someone's relying on 1,200 calories a day to lose weight, my first question is why? Why is your body not losing weight unless you're eating 1,200 calories or less? Because again, like some of your employees are furloughed. Which ones of your cells or your little organelles inside the cells are not working that well? for you to not be using that much fuel. So we like to go through that. And so we can boost up their metabolic rate so it can be higher. So, unfortunately, even for a lot of the experts in the medical and nutrition and fitness and health spaces are still to this day being taught, if you're working with a client or a patient who wants to lose weight, cut them back to this many calories. And if they're still not losing weight, cut them back again and again and again. And that's what's still being taught to our experts. So it's like this myth that just won't die. um, so yeah, I'd rather work on if you're 1,200 calories or less, let's work on making your body be able to handle and use more calories than that.
That's much better. It's also more pleasant. Like I think a majority of the people do love food, like cutting calories is also cutting out that pleasure of eating. And then like it also just feels not sustainable.
Yes, you're right. It messes up with hunger cues, right? We have all these kinds of cravings. We're so moody and we're cranky and we're tired. Was looking at everyone else's plate with envy, going like, "How come she could eat so much more than me?" And um, and because the answer isn't being given, like forget, not completely forget, but like stop focusing so much on the intake and let's talk about how we can make your body like just this calorie burner, because not just for the sake of burning calories, but because it's doing all of these important jobs, and all of those important jobs require calories, and all of those important jobs keep you healthy. So it's just kind of like all together,
Right. Right. I mentioned a little bit about mitochondria on top of their life. Like, what are mitochondria? Like, what's their role in weight maintenance?
Yeah. So my mitochondria is like the powerhouse of our cell. It's like a little power pack, and they produce energy in the form of ATP. And they keep everything running. I mean, they are really the guys that are responsible for whether your cells are working or furloughed. And mitochondrial dysfunction is fairly common because of a lot of the ways that a lot of what the status quo is in the society. And so you would have a little bit of mitochondrial dysfunction just by aging, but we pour gasoline to that fire with our lifestyle typically. So there's a lot that we can do to help to mitigate that. And so you want to think about mitochondrial function, but also how many we have, because similarly to muscle, if you're not using them, then your body will get rid of them, because your body doesn't want to be just churning through extra energy unless it feels it's necessary. So basically, you have to be telling your body, I need all this energy to be made so that it will hold on to things like muscle or mitochondria. So they're responsible for, hormones and um, whether you're burning fat or whether you're burning glycogen, and they kind of run the show really, because they're inside the cell and telling the cell what to do.
And how can we support our mitochondria?
Yeah, so there's lots we could do. So going for walks is fantastic. I don't think walks, I know you see walks everywhere, like all feed, and they're not overrated at all. Specifically, walks after meals are helpful, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes. It's helping your body to learn how to use up what you ate as energy rather than needing to store it. Our mitochondria do really well with strength training, not just weightlifting, but actually training for strength, so that you know that you're progressively overloading and getting harder working harder over time. Sleep and rest, but they also love when you sweat and when you shiver, because we've done this weird thing in our society where we're just always temperature stable and we're always between 68 and 72 degrees, but that's not really natural for our bodies. And so that's one of the reasons that our bodies might shed and get rid of some mitochondria, because it's like we're always 68 to 72. We don't really need to be working quite as hard. So we're going to get rid of some of this mitochondria, and then you're not burning up as much fuel. Whereas our ancestors would be shivering sometimes, they'd be sweating sometimes, and they would have these big swings in temperature that their body would have to work hard to keep their core body temperature where it likes to be. So we definitely want to make sure that we're shivering regularly and sweating regularly as well.
I mean, there's still like many cultures have, you soak in a spa hot tub and then you go do a cold dip, right? Like, 'cause it's like both in Asia, Europe, like everywhere. I feel like Americans, like, we don't do enough of that. Like, it's like a part of the wellness, and then it's like it makes you feel so good, but we don't really have a lot.
Yes, you're right. And you know what? It does so much too. I think like we can't underestimate what it does for our mind also, because when we tackle the day with something like that, like even if you're just turning your shower on to cold for the last 30 seconds or something like that. But it's not comfortable, right? It's not like it doesn't get easier. It's hard every single time. And then, but when you start your day like that, you're like, man, I just did something that's hard. Like, and now you're like ready to tackle the rest of the day because I can do hard things. So it's really good for our mind too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You had a really great post and you said trick your body into burning fat. So like I love that. So what are some ways?
Yeah, so that was a few days ago. So I said that I freeze it. So, that's the cold exposure too. I will do things like, yeah, I'll do a cold plunge or whatever. I'll do the shower trick, but I also like to just use my environment. So when it's winter here, I'm in New York, I'll just go outside with less clothes than I really want on. Like I'll just go outside for a little while without a coat, or I'll go for a hike and I won't wear a coat for a little while. I always have it with me for safety reasons because I don't want to get stuck there without a coat, but I'll just like hold it on my arm for a little while, right? I like to use the environment that way. So I freeze it. I said I light it up. So I make sure that I'm getting plenty of sunshine. Our metabolism, our mitochondria, they love sunshine. So I make sure that I get out. I also have like a red light therapy device. That's cool. It's not necessary. You could just use the sun also. And then I said that I stress it out, but nicely, because with the work, these different things, you want to give it little periods of stress and then cycle in the rest of recovery and then stress it out again. And then I said that I chill it out too. So relaxation, stress management is really important.
Wow, I love it. So many people can actually like lose lean tissue while trying to burn fat. Like you have so many amazing tips on this topic. Could you like run through some of the things that impact like fat loss versus lean tissue loss?
Yeah. Okay. So that's such an awesome question because most people will come to me or they'll say in general that they want to lose weight, but I know what they mean. But sometimes the semantics matter there because most people, they don't want to lose weight unless they have to cut weight for a wrestling match or something. But most people really, they want to lose body fat while at least preserving muscle, if not maybe even putting on some muscle. And there are some things that really make a difference as to whether you're going to do that or not. So number one, protein is important. I know this has blown up a lot recently too, but it's important. The current recommendations from the FDA for protein are just enough to not die. It's not enough to thrive. It's not enough for what you need to thrive. And so finally, the research and all of that is catching up, and we know that we need more. So 30 grams or so of protein per meal, maybe even a little more, because if you have 3 meals at 30 grams each, that's 90. For some people, that would be enough. For some people, that's not enough. But that's a good starting place for sure. And that will also get you enough of a certain amino acid called leucine that tends to trigger the muscle protein synthesis. So basically, you're telling your body, even if I'm losing weight, I'm giving you all the raw materials you need to hold on to the muscle. So please hold on to the muscle. So that's the one signal that you're giving there. Strength training, again, it's really important that you are really training for strength. So it's getting progressively harder over time. Omega 3s. So this is something that's a little bit more recent in the research in the last few years or so. But when we have enough omega 3s, either through our food or supplementation, it tends to have a muscle sparing effect. So it's excellent for weight loss. It's excellent for like post-surgery, or if you're going to be on bed rest or something. It's really important that you're getting those omega 3s. Sleep, rest and recovery is always important too. And I guess that's it. I tried to write a huge one. No big deficits. You don't want any large calorie deficits, because if you have that, you could only lose a certain amount of body fat per day. So if you're losing weight faster than the amount of body fat that you're losing, then you know that extra is not body fat. It's muscle or some other lean tissue. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like for people who are, maybe like a bit too much more overweight than like someone who's like just a little bit overweight, for the ones that just a little bit overweight could be harder to lose that weight they wanted. Because I've seen friends that trying to lose weight, but and then they thinking, okay, then let's me add strength training, trying to not lose that muscle, but on the scale they're actually gaining weight instead of like losing. But like one thing I was like, okay, have you noticed like your waist is like shrinking a bit? Your pants is getting a little bit loose, even though your scale is going up. But I felt like, okay, that's actually a good sign, because you're probably losing fat, but building muscle. Your body is actually getting leaner, like
Yes.
more muscle, despite your scale actually went up a little bit.
Yes, that's such a good that's such a good point, and that's absolutely true. Like people who have more weight to lose, over they're going to tend to notice that the scale is going down over time, right? But yeah, exactly. Those people who it's just a little bit, that's more just body recomposition.
Mm.
And so I will often, because that's kind of like a big emotional thing to so I will have those people not use the scale at all, or if they really need to use the scale, then I like drive that home to them exactly what you said. The scale might stay the same, it might go up, it might come down, but not as much as you want it to come down. But keep an open mind because the body that you want, both for health and aesthetics reasons, probably weighs more than you think it does. Uh, because, when we think of body composition, it's not just the body fat percentage,
Mhm.
it's what you're composed of, right? So it's your fat, it's your muscle. What about your bone? What about how dense your mitochondria is? How about your collagen and your connective tissue, your brain mass, right? Some of these things, they all shrink when we diet too hard. Even like our liver can shrink when we diet too hard because your body is pulling from anywhere. Thermodynamics just says that you're going to lose weight if you're taking in less than you're eating. It doesn't say where that weight is going to come from, though. And
Mhm.
so it's really important to have these inputs that we're talking about so that you make sure that you're really trying to target the fat specifically while maintaining or even building all of that other stuff.
Absolutely. Could you explain the role of stress in preventing weight gain and then some of your favorite ways to reduce stress? Because we kind of talked about a little bit about stress throughout this talk
Yeah.
already.
Yes. Okay. So our metabolism speaks to our nervous system. So they're in conversation with each other. So our whole system is one system, but these two are particularly important. And your nervous system, when you're stressed out, the tendency is to want to have quick burning sources of energy because it would make sense if we're very stressed and we have to fight or flight. Um, you need to fight something maybe or run away, right? So you would need to be able to have something that's going to kick in quick and be able to get used up very quickly. Those are your carbs. So this is when people crave sugar or salty carbs or whatever. So when we're stressed out, a lot of times we'll be increasing our
Mhm.
cravings for those things too. So when we are constantly stressed, we're meant to have stress kind of pulsed in there, but when we're constantly stressed or it's just really above and beyond, then we are going to tend to be more of that sugar burner or the carb burner. And we're not going to seamlessly switch over from burning carbs to burning fat for fuel and back and forth.
Mhm.
And so a lot of those people will then also find that they get hangry. They're going to
Mhm.
hit a wall at some point. They're going to feel like they can't go very long between meals, like they need to snack every 1-2 hours, something like that, because our nervous system does, talk to our metabolism. Oh,
Oh, wow.
about stress relieving things.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, sleep is huge. If we're not getting enough sleep or the right quality of sleep, that's going to impact us. I like to use I use music as a tool, and I find a lot of people like this, but maybe not everybody. It's like a 75-25 thing or something. But music really moves me. So I'll use music to either match where I'm at if I want to stay there, if I like my temperament right there, or I'll use music to take me to where I want to go. If I need to rev myself up or calm myself down, I'll choose accordingly. If I want to calm myself down, I might use like spa music or classical or jazz, Nora Jones, John Mayer, whatever, anything
Mhm.
like that. Breath work is
Mhm.
important too.
Mhm.
When we breathe too rapidly, which we tend to do when we're stressed out, and we tend to breathe too shallow too, like up here, we are actually, it's like this whole feedback loop that keeps us in a stressed pattern. So in order to calm that down, we want our exhale to be longer than our inhale. So I like the 4-7-8 breathing pattern, which is pretty common, where you inhale for a count of 4 seconds, you hold it for a count of 7, and then you exhale for a count of 8. As long as your exhale is longer than your inhale, that's really the main thing. And you could even just do that for 2 or 3 rounds, and you'll notice like your shoulders dropping. It's a fantastic tool to use either for maintenance or in the moment when you really need to calm yourself down.
Wow. So that's four, four,
Four,
seven.
seven,
No,
and eight.
four, four, seven,
Yeah.
8. I'm writing it down. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I also love these two strategies because they're pretty much free, right? And
Yeah.
you can have your music you turn on and you're always breathing.
Right.
It doesn't cost any money, which is
Doesn't cost
amazing.
money. And very often the music, but definitely the breathing one, you can do it anywhere and no one even needs to know that you're doing it. No
So
one even
I
knows they're stressing you out and you have to breathe a certain way to deal with it.
yes, And then also putting a number 478, I think it's like a much more tangible because oftentimes you tell people, okay, take a deep breath. Like was like, okay, how deep? Like how do I count it? How do I like kind of make myself accountable that I'm actually doing it? This
Yeah.
478 rule is like it's perfect.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
So I love Ask a Nutrition Coach this. If you have all the time and money in the world to make you a favorite your favorite meals, nutritious meal to enhance your metabolism, what meal are you making?
Okay. So this doesn't really take that much time and not that much money, but I just really like it. And with the summer coming, it's definitely been on my mind. But I love a good high protein pasta salad. So I like to use lupini bean pasta. So I guess that
Ooh.
kind of like the bougie part because definitely more. But uh, lupini bean pasta, it has like 20 grams of protein per serving, a ton of fiber. It's very low in net carbs. I'm not against carbs, but I believe in moderate carbs. And this,
Yeah.
it's never hard to add carbs, right? You could always add more in. And then I would do like a bunch of veggies cut up, maybe like cucumber, shaved carrots, green onions, things like that. Probably some kimchi. I like good food in there too. And then I would toss that all in like a Thai peanut sauce. I hate
Ooh.
Thai sauce. um, and then maybe some like sesame seeds on top or something. So for me, that's just delicious, so tasty. But I'm also hitting everything that I need to for metabolism. So it's got the protein. It's got healthy fats in there. It's got tons of fiber. I've got fermented foods for my gut health. I've got different colors, so I'm getting the phytonutrients in there. And I am getting some carbohydrates in there too. So yeah, that's just like a delicious and balanced meal.
I have never tried this pasta. Like whenever I have pasta, my blood sugar also I wear a CGM sometimes.
Uh-huh.
It always shoots up. I have not been able to find one. Like even if I eat whole wheat pasta or eating soba, which also have quite a bit of fiber, it always shoots up. So I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna
Try
try
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we get off, I'll like tell you where I get it from and stuff so you can have it. Or I'm happy to share it here if you want. I don't know. I don't know if you want me to share it here.
Yeah, please share. Please
Um,
share. Because I think a lot of people don't know like this really thin pasta even exists. I actually have never seen it. And I didn't know it has such high protein content. It's
yeah,
amazing.
it is. So I have no affiliation with this company whatsoever. The brand is called that I know of is called Kaizen. It's Kaizen, I believe.
Okay.
Kaizen. And I have found it like on Amazon actually.
Okay.
So they'll come in like a 3-pack. Like I said, it's pricier than regular pasta because when you combine like the convenience of having something made for you plus something that's healthy, like that combination is always like, the priciest. But we love it. Yeah, it's a staple around here.
That's such a great recipe. I love all the different component and it's like delicious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. But I can eat cardboard dipped in Thai peanut sauce, so.
So I think it's like really hard for people to like navigate different aspects. I mean, it took you many, many years and so much studying to get to this point. So I think like people can, if they are just starting, it's really important to work with someone who knows what they're doing. So how can someone work with you?
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's actually really, really important. There's this message out there that's like, you don't need more information. You just need to take action. And to an extent, I agree, right? Like there's certain things that we know we need to get more walks or we need to get better sleep or whatever. There's always things that's in our wheelhouse that we know that we could do better. But I do find that a lot of the people that I talk to women all day long, my clients or potential new clients or through DMs or whatever. And very often they are having the wrong information. So it is really important to have the right information to take action on because the wrong steps can backtrack us and really ruin habits and like all the dieting, right? People will say, I've been dieting for 30 years. Can you help me? It's like, yeah, we can, but it's going to take longer because all those diets, they did do their share of damage. I offer a lot of stuff for free. So I want to start there. I have a free newsletter. I put lots of stuff on my social media. So for anyone who's like, I can't invest right now, please take advantage of all the free things. And then there's 3 paid ways that you could work with me. Number 1, I work one-on-one with clients, and that's very high touch, very customized and personal in all the areas. Then there's sort of like the lowest touch point, but still pretty awesome is my monthly membership. It's called the Metabolic Edge. And this is where people get all the tools they need. They get the workouts, the meal guides. We do lots of workshops. We have lots of guest speakers on. Maybe you could be a guest in the future. Who knows?
Sure.
Not to put you on the spot, but I did have it in my head that I wanted to talk to you about that. And
more than happy to.
yay, okay, good. So we get really nerdy about different things about, you know, fat loss, longevity, women's health, hormones, all that stuff. So it's kind of like continued education and workouts and nutrition, you know, in a membership. And then 3 times a year, I run a 28-day metabolism boosting course that's called Transform Body and Mind. The doors happen to open for that tomorrow. That's a coincidence. You didn't know that. We just scheduled this. But yeah, I do that 3 times a year, and I'm doing a May round that opens tomorrow. So that's a 28-day like deep dive where people are coming out with tons of information. They're not achieving all their goals in 28 days, obviously, but they're getting a nice head start, and they're getting all of the tools and information that they need so that they can keep going in the future after that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, hit me up. I'm totally happy to spread knowledge, like for at least for environmental toxins. Is what I know.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you to do. We haven't done a workshop on that yet, so I'm like, yes, we got to do that.
Amazing. Anything else you'd like to share or promote today?
No,
Is that tomorrow? Starting tomorrow, I need to like post that.
I'm like, people are going to think that this was like planned. This is not planned timing. I guess I just want to promote hope and empowerment, because I think the missing message that is like falling through the cracks for a lot of people is that it's just, I'm broken, my genetics are broken, and you know, and what I want to say is like, yeah, genetics matter and they have their role for sure, but our lifestyle choices speak so much louder than our genetics, usually, most of the time, especially for chronic life conditions, and body composition changes and all those things. So that's what I want to promote. Like we have so much more power than most people out there are led to believe. So I just want keep the hope alive and stay empowered.
Oh, absolutely. I just want to also add, like, we kind of consider lifestyle, everything is your bigger, you know, environment. And your genetic actually counts less than 30% of your risk or your health condition. The rest of it is your environment. So you have so much power, especially when it comes to lifestyle. And I also want to add, like, there's no magic pill. Like, you just gotta do it. You gotta spend the time and for self-care and then do it. And then you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference, right?
Yes. And it's snowballs. That's the cool thing. It's like, if it feels like this giant mountain, just know that when you take that first step, you feel better. So that's the difference with diets, right? Diets, like, you go on a diet and the longer you're on it, you feel worse and worse. You feel like more tired and hungry, right? But when you do this the right way, like, you make some changes and you're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. My energy is amazing. I'm sleeping better. I have more patience for my kids and my dog. I don't know how that happened. And then it just keeps going from there, you know, and nobody wants to come off of this when it's like the right plan. There's no like end date. You don't want to end it because you just feel so incredible.
I love it. Okay, amazing. Until next time.
Yes, thank you.
And then
Bye.
oh, okay, bye. Have a good day.
You too.